It's a small world after all.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2025 horror comedy Screamboat. The film is co-written and directed by Stephen Lamort and it stars Tyler Posey, David Howard Thornton, Sarah Coppin, Kaylee Hyman, Amy Schumacher and Jesse Cove. Right. The film focuses on the Staten Island ferry in New York. The famous ferry journey. It's doing like one last journey sort of thing. It's full of passengers. It's on a beautiful evening, and they head off into the night to go on this nice boat journey. However, what they don't realise is that in the underbelly of this ship is Screamboat Willie, who is an oversized mouse-struck rat that decides to prey on all the passengers and starts taking them out in increasingly graphic and creative ways. Right. What are my thoughts on Screamboat? Well, this is another one of those horror films that is loosely based on Mickey Mouse, who is now in the public domain. There's been a couple already that have been garbage, so I didn't hold out a great deal of hope for this one. Now, this is based on the Steamboat Willie, you know, the original cartoon that had Mickey Mouse in black and white with the whistling and all that kind of stuff. So it's taken a little bit different creative approach, but it's still Mickey Mouse at the end of the day. But this has got some fairly strong production values that go along with it, and they've got a little bit of an ace up their sleeve because they've got David Howard Thornton playing Screamboat Willie, who is, of course, the actor that plays Art the Clown in the Terrifier films. So he's a very, very talented physical performer, as we've seen with Art the Clown. So it kind of brings to life this, what could have been a ridiculous comedic character. And while he still is Screamboat Willie, he's also giving it a lot of personality through his performance. And another thing that kind of makes this film more watchable than a lot of films like this, these films that are like, you know, taking advantage of these films that are in these properties that are in the public domain, is that it doesn't take itself seriously, this film. Thank God. I can't stand it when these type of films take themselves too seriously, because you just can't take them seriously, these type of films. And thankfully, this really doesn't. You know, that it's got a fun sense of humour with it. There are plenty of characters in this film that you kind of rub your hands at the thought of them getting chopped, sliced, stabbed, chomped on, whatever, by Screamboat Willie. So you can't wait for some of them to get it, which I like in films like this. And you know, there's a handful of characters that you kind of thinking, okay, you can see clearly that they're probably going to make it to the end. So while it doesn't really deliver a great deal of surprises on that front, what it does deliver is some over-the-top, graphic, gory kills. And I do mean that. I mean, it's on par at times with the Terrifier films in regards to the violence. It's not just as graphic, because I think sometimes the violence in the Terrifier films, they've got to the point now where they have to kind of keep taking it up a level. Whereas this one, again, the violence is very, very graphic, but it's done with a layer of humour with it, if you like. There is a scene where someone gets their manhood chopped off that is quite disturbing, I suppose. So those are the kind of kills that you're looking at here, you know. ridiculous, over the top slicing and dicing. And like I say, this Screamboat Willie stroke David Howard Thornton does it with a spring in his step and a cheeky smiling grin on his face. You know, he's dancing about, he's whistling, and there's actually some charm to this character that he brings to life, sort of thing. And while occasionally the effects, because he's not like a human-sized mouse strut rat, he is quite small, but he's just determined and savage. So you kind of see him scuttling around, and you know, the humans just never really seem to be able to get the better of him. So it's quite fun, really, the fact that he is not like this massive 6 foot, mouse or rat sort of thing. He's actually, probably no taller than up to your hips, sort of thing. So he's not a big character at all. So I think smartly they don't focus on him too heavily, too often in regards to the effects. And when they do, it's actually quite comical. And it's meant to look like that because of the performance that David Howard Thornton is putting in. It kind of distracts you from the daftness of how it looked. So there's some charm here with this. There's a little bit of fun to be had with this, and it's, for me, that's what I want from movies like this. I don't want them to kind of take themselves too seriously. I don't want them to kind of overcomplicate the plot. I don't want them to, just be very, very dull about it. And while I'm not saying that this film is what you would call an instant classic or anything, I think it's got definitely some charm and some cheekiness to it, and a little bit of creative flair added to it that will make this a much more enjoyable watch than some of, or I would say at least 80%, 90% of these films that are based on properties in the public domain, as I've mentioned. This for me is a little bit of fun. That, its tongue's firmly in its cheek, doesn't take itself too seriously, and by that definition, you don't need to take it seriously. Just watch it, have a laugh and a giggle at it, enjoy the over-the-top graphic kills, and that's it. It's not gonna. You're not gonna go away and think this is the most memorable thing you've ever seen, but you likely will have, raised a smile with it here and there. So yeah, I didn't mind this one at all, really. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know your thoughts if you've seen this one, and I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.